Welcome to the Jon Harrison Podcast. Statistics show us that about 70% of people are disengaged in the workplace. Obviously, that affects bottom lines of companies, individual, their own engagement at work, but also affects families and communities. We don't want to just be frustrated about things that are going on in the workplace or the world. We want to do something about it. So we're going to talk about this while others aren't, and we hope you will join us on this journey.
Welcome back to the Jon Harrison Podcast. This is Madeline, and this is a part 2 to the episode that we just did about making sound decisions and how to instill confidence in yourself and see confidence in others. And basically, specifically, it's thinking like an owner. So we kind of wanted to do a deep dive on this because there's a lot of parts to it. And so I'm just going to pass it straight to Jon.
So yeah, in our sessions, we talk about the concept of thinking like an owner. And I tell a silly story of when we were all kids and we went outside to play and we didn't close the door behind us with heat and air conditioning escaping from the house. And when you were 7 years old, you didn't seem to care about that, but other people did because they own the house. They're paying the bill, so to speak. And so I like using, simple examples in my training because it does hit home, I think. So in the workplace, I think the people that I had the most confidence in at Caterpillar were those that treated the business as if they owned it. Now, Caterpillar is hard because a business like Caterpillar does not have an owner, so to speak. It's a publicly traded company. But the Jon Harrison Company, there is an owner, and I'm speaking right now. And the three other people around this table obviously know me. They know Jen. They know Jackie, our dog. There's a relationship there. And I think it can be easier sometimes if there is an actual person that you know as the owner. But even with our team of three people here, I would expect them, I travel a lot. I'm not worried for 1 second while I'm gone that this team is not thinking as if they own this company. Matter of fact, I think Melissa and I had a call yesterday or the day before, and she said, I always think about as if I was the owner of this company. And it just comes out in how we behave in public, how we behave with clients, our integrity, which we talked about in the previous episode. So it's usually little things that will do that. For example, and I'm going to let Jason tell another great kid story. But I think as owners, I've heard managers and supervisors say, you need to treat company assets like you do your own. And I don't think that's the right statement because some people don't treat their own stuff well. Mm-hmm. So to me, we need to teach people sometimes what it means to be an owner. This is how we treat tools in our factory. This is how we keep the bathroom clean in the office. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many times I'm in restrooms and there's water like all over the counter. Mm-hmm. And this happened to me actually just yesterday. I was speaking somewhere. I had khaki pants on. And I was, washing my hands and stuff before I went up to speak, and there was water on the counter, and I kind of brushed up against the counter. Well, khaki pants. That's
show it.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
So I had to get creative with a blow dryer in the or the hand dryer. But my point is, leaving water behind on a counter is not thinking like an owner. Right. It's taking that extra step. Yeah. So, Jason, the example you just shared a minute ago.
And thinking like an owner, it doesn't always take a long time. To wipe the counter takes 3-4 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, like I've mentioned before, we have lots of kids in the house, and we have a newer one come stay with us, and he does things different. He doesn't know all the rules kind of the house, and so he may leave a door open or leave the light on, which all of our kids know not to do. But he's new, quote unquote, to our organization, right, in our household, right. And so it could be the same thing when you have a new employee at your firm or your plant. Where maybe they did things different before, and so all it is just teaching, because sometimes we get frustrated or mad at the new person because, well, they're not doing the things the way I do them, and so number one, be patient with the new employee or person you're dealing with, and just teach them what's expected, and like Jon talks about, is holding them accountable to that.
Yeah, I don't think we share what ownership means and looks like in simple things.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, from an employee perspective, I appreciate, I remember working at Krispy Kreme and my manager telling me we had these big big trash cans and telling me to wipe down the sides of the trash cans. And I was on my hands and knees with a rag cleaning the trash can. And I just was thinking, like, why am I doing this? Like, it's a trash can.
Right.
It's a dirty trash can. Like, it's supposed to be dirty. But then, like, I started thinking, and as I matured, and I worked there for a long time, and I ended up working in the office. I ended up working in the office environment with the owner of the company. And there were times where we would go and do audits of the Krispy Kremes and the Sonics, and we would walk in and we'd be like, oh my gosh, why is this a mess? Like, the baseboards are a mess. And so we would come in sometimes and like deep clean the Krispy Kreme as the owner and his office people. We would come in and like clean down the whole store. And I think that hopefully was an example showing that, yes, the owner's coming to like literally clean his place, and just kind of showing like, I'm going to help out.
Reinforcing the standard and doing it himself. Yes.
Yes. And as an employee, like, now I take care of my house, and I was just, Jason saw me looking at my trash can because I was thinking through this example, and I'm like, is my trash can clean? Because I'm about to say that I wipe down my trash can often now. And I always think back to that.
Well, and I think one more thing of thinking like an owner is, because I worked at a big plant here in Little Rock, and we knew if somebody big from corporate was coming down, guess what we did? We gotta get it right, make it look good. But the question is, why wasn't it always looking good? You know what I'm saying? So if we're all thinking like owners, that plant should be ready any day. If the corporate guys wanted to come down on any day of the week, and it'd be looking, spick and span. So,
well, and Jason, it's funny and I've said this in a few sessions recently. When that happens, I don't care if it's an office or a factory. Hey, someone's visiting from a bigwig. Let's clean it up. In effect, what you're telling your people is, let's pretend to be excellent today.
Yes.
Let's just pretend to be excellent, and then after he or she leaves, we can go back to being mediocre. And I think some of you listening to this probably need to make some changes as a result of that, because it really, it's excellent all day long. Doesn't mean we can't have a mistake or a restaurant gets dirty for a little bit, but we restore it back to an excellence level.
Yeah, and I think about it too, like as a leader, from the perspective of knowing your people well and knowing what some of their personal barriers are maybe to success, or thinking like an owner. I think back to when I was part of a team where I was working with another manager, and we were extreme opposites in terms of how we made decisions. Extreme. Okay. Now, I won't say either one of them were right or wrong in the way that we did that, but I was I will say, like, using our terms, golden retriever, and I was very amiable, but I was also not worried about, but I truly wanted to earn the trust of my leader in my decision-making capabilities. So until I got comfortable, and even probably still after that, I would think about things. I would go into their office with 2 or 3 options and want to talk about it. And I know y'all have heard me use the word collaboration a lot, but I like to sit and talk, not waste time, but talk about the options and what the best one might be. So that was kind of my mode of decision making. And if I wasn't doing it with my leader directly, I was doing it with the team of people I was leading. I'm like, how is this going to impact us? How is it going to impact others? What's the best decision? Cost effectiveness, all those kinds of things. But this other manager, a peer of mine that I worked with, she operated on the premises of make a decision and ask forgiveness later, right? Yeah. She was an extreme lion, and she felt wholeheartedly through her own personal discernment that this was the right decision, and would literally go to her deathbed in some cases defending it, while there might have been another option, right? Mm-hmm. So we were extreme opposites, but again, if a leader knows that about their people, right, then they can work to help mold that person or find a happy medium or get them to think about things differently in terms of decision making as it relates to that company and their expectation, or that department and leader and their expectation, which, taking it back to the VIP way, it goes all back to that. What is the expectation in terms of decision making, and how do we want that to look for our team and our department? Mm-hmm.
That's great, Melissa. And let me just say this as we close. I think those of you that are new to us, if you kind of research the VIP way on our website or wherever, you'll see we have 9 expectations for leaders and employees. And they're not perfect. They just come from real life. But kind of what Melissa just said. There's a reason we teach the way we do, that we take 3 days and we hit all of these 9 expectations because they all overlap and they all complement each other. And I think a lot of companies train people, they might send them off to a half-day session on communication. And then 6 months later, they go to something on generations, and that's fine. But I think as we talk about these things during our podcast, it just reminds me of leadership is so difficult. And really just being an employee, whatever, is difficult because you're dealing with all different kinds of people. And we want people going home with, water in their bottle, passion in their bottle, so to speak. And it's usually all this little stuff that can either make someone's day or ruins their day. And I just love, getting people in a room and having them see all these different aspects of what the workplace looks like. So I hope these podcasts help because we're only able to do, 20 minutes or so of talking about these subjects. But even those of you that have been through our sessions, we have other content of things that we'd love to share with you. But even just as a refresher, I can't tell you how many people have gone, well, I went through the session 3 years ago. I just felt like it was time to go through it again and get refreshed. And we think that's true just, with relationships, with marriage, with whatever. Like, you have to work at it. This isn't, you go to whether it's our session or any place that you get trained, you don't go once and feel like you have it all down. So I thank you to my team for all these reminders of how important this work is.
Yeah, and if you do want to find out about more of our events, we have those 3-day sessions, and we also have some upcoming 7 characteristics of a star virtual trainings. So you can find all those on our website and in the description box below. But thank you for listening.
Thank you for joining us today on the Jon Harrison Podcast. As you know, we believe that a positive work culture creates a ripple effect that extends into families and communities. If you found anything of value in today's episode, please share it with somebody so they can hear it as well. And if you have questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please fill out the form below.